see me take notes in a meeting, they usually sort of, they don't notice for a second, and then they sort of look like, what is that he's doing? And I have some idiosyncrasies about it that have worked for me, and people have said they like my note taking. So I'm going to share that with you. So when I sit down at a meeting, first thing I do is I draw a box, upper right hand corner. I just draw a box, and you know, it helps that it's graph paper, but it doesn't matter. And then I'll put the title or the subject of the meeting here, and I'll put the date over here. So date, title, and this box here. And so then I'll write a lot. Actually, I try to write a fair amount. People always ask me, what is in that box? What do you do? And that's sort of the secret. I learned that from, I learned it over time, and it's sort of an adaptation of note-taking style that I learned from two friends. One, Rich Harwood, and the other is Dave Moore. I worked with them, and they use versions of this. This is what works for me. But the first key is to think about what you're going to want to remember about the meeting after it's done. So different meetings have different purposes. Some are you're capturing to-dos. Others are you're brainstorming, and you want to remember like the good ideas. Others are you're thinking about the pros and cons of a situation. You want to remember those. And still others, you just want to sort of remember the key ideas. What are the key ideas? If you're in a marketing meeting with someone, with a potential client or customer, you want to remember what they need, what their requirements are, what their hopes are for your product or service. That's the most important thing. It takes 90 seconds to think that through before you sit down and start writing. If you don't do that, then you may as well not take notes. I mean that literally. So once you figured out what you want to remember, well, you can see where this is going. That's what goes in the box. And it's really quite simple. The overall goal when I take notes is that I don't want to have to read all the other stuff that I write down. I want to be able to just look in the box and know what I need to know. And if you're fully present at the meeting, if you're listening actively, and if most importantly you've thought ahead about what it is you're going to want to remember, then you should have everything you need in that box. You can always go and remind yourself later if necessary, or if something new comes up, of the other stuff that you wrote, that 3 or 4 pages. And it's useful to have for proof, to jog your memory if you just sort of want to free associate again. But for most purposes, that box is it. And in a business setting, the box system is incredible, because what it allows you to do is, like, within 2 minutes of finishing the meeting, you can kick back an email to everyone about the key points, or the key to-dos, or here's what I heard you say you needed, or here are the pros and cons of that idea we kicked around. It's right there in the box. All you need to do is transcribe that, and you're done. And then you've got a record in your computer. So I don't have a name for it. Let's give it a name now. It's the box method. The more you discipline yourself to just put the key stuff here, the more useful your notes are later, because you don't want to look through all that voluminous stuff. You want to get what you need to get at a glance. So that's how I take notes.